written by Gopal Das Neeraj, a very well-known poet of this country. अब तो मजहब कोई ऐसा चलाया जाए जिससे इंसान को इंसान बनाया जाए. What I am trying to say that in no case, in no situation we should leave our human values, our moral values, our ethical values. वो हमें कभी नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. हम कुछ भी हो जाएं, कहीं भी चले जाएं. The another couplet, which also always I am very fond of saying this, especially for our own people who are sitting here. सूरज चाँद सितारे मेरे साथ में रहें. सूरज चाँद सितारे मेरे साथ में रहें जब तक तुम्हारा हाथ मेरे हाथ में रहे. What it says that we can achieve anything provided we are getting cooperation, provided we are all united. That's the message what this couplet is going to say. And with these few couplets, I once again welcome you all. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Professor P.N. Tandon, Chairman Governing Body, Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, University of Delhi, to enlighten us with his words of wisdom. Professor P.N. Tandon was the founder of the Department of Neurosurgery. Thank you.
Professor Katoch, Dr. Selvamurthy, Professor Gupta, Director Dr. Rajan Prasad, Rajkumar, distinguished past and present faculty and students. First of all, let me add my word of welcome to all of you. Now, if I start to talk about the people who are sitting on the dais, I think we will miss our lunch, that's for sure. Anyway, today you see the galaxy of Indian biomedical scientists in front of you. Each one of them, whom you will hear, therefore I will not talk about them, have set examples of high standards, not only of their research, but high standard of professional integrity and professional ethics, which many of us tend to forget. When it has been said that an institution is the lengthened shadow of a leader, and you have heard about Dr. Viswanathan, I had the pleasure, privilege and honor of interacting with him briefly. His successor, of course, I interacted much more deeply because from the student days we were together. He was just a couple of years senior to me. So with this institute, my association started way back when this institute started in 1953. When for some time I came to work in the TB hospital here, and all our patients had their respiratory function test carried out here. And from that time, you have heard the director present a status report. It's certainly impressive. But as I've said before, and I repeat for the young people sitting here, excellence is not a destination. Excellence is a journey. And we are today here to pay our tribute to the founder of this institute, whose dedicated efforts left behind this symbol of excellence, where the generations to come should be able to pursue their aspirations and their search for truth, which is symbolized by the people sitting here whom you will listen to in greater detail. So as I said, I am not going to talk about them. Neither am I going to take too much of your time, because I am very eager to hear the others who are going to follow. So I take this opportunity again to wish this institute continued progress, its growth from strength to strength, and its ability to serve the nation for which this was created. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have with us our guest of honor, Professor Devendra Kumar Gupta, Vice Chancellor, King George's Medical University, Lucknow.
Very good morning, friends, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais, distinguished faculty, students, participants in the audience. It is a great pleasure and honor to be here. We are really fortunate that we have an environment of science created by none other than the first Prime Minister of our country, who ensured to establish, this was the era immediately after independence, that All India Institute was established, IITs were instituted, IIMs, Patel Chess Institute, and so many other institutions, because science is the only way for the progress of mankind, progress of the humanity. And this is what we are seeing the fruits today. So in continuity of that, I think we have developed our infrastructure during the past 60 years post-independence. There was an era when our experts went to UK, Germany, USA, Australia. They obtained expertise, they came back and started working here. They established the departments, institutions, and they created culture of science and academics, research. Today I think India is at a position, and we should not lag behind, to create that environment and infrastructure that we should serve as a hub of training to people from other countries. I think that should start the aim now, and next 15 years we should ensure. There is no doubt of money in this country, I am quite sure. It only needs to be channelized. And I think all those who come to our country in various departments, various institutions of repute, it is our religious duty that we invite them, and they would serve as best ambassadors of our country while they go back to their own respective countries. I have shared it with Professor Penn and Professor Kato that the Advanced Research Center that we have established, that will also be a center of focus where people from all around the world will come, and this will be one of the center of excellence at the top quality in the world. With these words, I think I feel pleased to come here and to visit this university, visit the institute under the able and dynamic leadership of Dr. Rajan Prasad, and also share my thoughts with you. Thank you very much. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. We have with us Professor Vishmohan Kato, our chief guest for the occasion.
Respected Professor Tandon, Dr. Selvamurthy, Mr. D.K. Gupta, Mr. Jinder Prasad, Mr. Raj Kumar, with distinguished and senior people sitting in the front row, and of course, maybe in the back row too, many distinguished people are there. The history of the institutions, as we are talking about today, Dr. Viswanathan today, Professor Tandon had the memory of the institution for the last 60 years, that's entire my life. He knows this, everything in the environment. So they know the past, they know today, and they know what was going to happen in the future also, because that experience has. But individuals do matter actually. They don't really matter seriously, because they can make and mark the things, because India has reached the peaks, India went to the peaks, then down into the minus situation. So it keeps on happening. All the individuals count, their perception counts. Professor Rajendra Prasad, when I started interacting with him, I think several years back in Nagra, and the one thing which was very, I remember what him, which I want to share with the people here. He has a capacity to swim against the tide actually. In a setting in Uttar Pradesh, because there's no criticism of anybody particularly, but you can say the entire situation of tuberculosis, which was my area of work, is so messed up by doctors actually, and many of them prominent doctors with a number of MDs also together, some are double MDs, and you can tell who has created what type of drug resistance phenotype. I could trace them out because that's how my entire working with the microbiology, the genetic engineering, you could trace, I could have an entire biography of the several districts. He had the guts to, even go to every medical college and repeatedly tell it has to be regimented treatment actually, it has to be regimes, it cannot be the way you treat actually. And then to confront your colleagues in medical colleges, and I think that was a very brave act actually, which endeared me, that it showed me that person has the capacity to swim against the tide actually. That's all the time I remember actually. The second was, the ICMR settings actually. We had number of projects actually on the tobacco and what's happening in the site in the Lucknow actually. And ICMR, to be very clear, is a 101-year-old body, but it went into ups and downs again. I see the character part actually. For some time it was very elitist, actually looking at the excellence in science, but then forgetting about the periphery, and the people in the periphery were not really treated well. This is a matter of fact actually. And so Lucknow I will call it periphery in that sense, because most of the funding went to the few institutions who were now like committees who were sitting everywhere, and that does happen actually. And there his projects were coming to and forth, but he had the perseverance actually to persist with the system. That's how randomly I picked up, because I knew him, so I just actually, he had not approached me. I just looked at him, why his projects is coming number of times, and I saw the rackets. But I saw a persistence in him, that he won't give up. I think he really wish him good, because he has come to a place which doesn't have many negative features actually. So he has a opportunity to move on, not to fight every day's problems which he had to fight in his previous years. So I think this institution will have another spell of, again, another peak, because with every leadership there should be a peak. And there will be another peak during his period. I wish the entire faculty all good luck. I had just a very brief comment to make on the number of aspirations we make actually, what we should do, what we should not do actually. A number of genuine aspirations by the faculty, by the director, everybody, they will be there, they will be debated in the governing body. People will be competing for grants. But if you, on these occasions, what do you try to recollect actually? Why we honor Professor Viswanathan in 50s, 60s as contributions? Why we honor for those years actually? Because there's imprints. The imprints on this institution, on the allergies, asthma, mycology. And you can count a number of things actually. The biochemistry, the other disciplines. So the physiology, which we had a very legendary director, and who was our DG also later. So there are a number of peaks here actually on the excellence in investigating in issues and getting the new insight into the problems. But when you look at 64 years and look at today, and look at, if you compare year to year, how we should assess our success actually. If you generate number of papers, you shine. But out of those papers, have you made the clinical medicine better? An institution created for the chest medicine, respiratory medicine, has it made the treatment of asthma better? Has it contributed to the understanding of making the affordable diagnostics for monitoring or diagnosis of the respiratory allergies, which is better, easier, cheaper? Apply them, is a part of the team. It could be done by the ICGB or any other institution also, not necessarily to be done here actually, but should be preferably here also. Then, has it led to the better management of any of the respiratory condition, any other condition actually, where you can say this has benefited so many people. First, India, then globe, automatically comes. So I think that's how the reflections have to be there, because what I find a dichotomy in this country, because 4 years, I think in my job, you start turning, you start talking also, which, I mean, I'm really, I don't rub the people wrong usually, but you start looking at the hypocrisy, you start looking at the dichotomy of the institution. Many people shine. Huge number of Indians shine. They have been shining from the days of the Rishis Munis were there. They are shining today also. But does the country shine? So issue arises, if there are issues to be investigated by very, very simple knowledge of the clinical medicine, if you, Shushrata, Charaka, those people could find solutions. Why do you need great gadgets today for apprehending every problem? And if you are using a new gadget, is it making the diagnosis better? And how much? Is it 1% improvement, 5% improvement? How much improvement actually? It isn't worth it actually. So question arises, when the institutions have been created in this country, they have been created first to benefit the people. I think if you start looking at that, you start your assessment on that pretext itself actually. So how many people you serve, how many you could improve the diagnosis, where you could improve the management, how much you contributed. Year by year, there's something to talk about, or you repeating the same line. I think this is the kind of, the analysis which all of us do wherever we sit. And to institutions like this, where this potential institution has contributed very significantly, individually, area-wise, specialty-wise. I need not talk about that because most of the people know it, and I know it about them also. But then your assessment should begin differently if you are not doing that way. Often we don't talk that way actually. Most of the places we tend to not be that self-critical. But if institutions start becoming self-critical, the faculty becomes critical, then you will definitely perform better. There's no question of your performance going down. There won't be any depression. Because most of them you are doing anyway, but you're not targeting to the quantitatively, the qualitatively, what difference it is making. So I think this occasion, 64 years, long history, a checkered history, a successful history. I think there is a general comment which everybody would feel like we don't need to quantify that actually. But then let's be specific then. And in specifics, I think you have to do the analysis. For this podium, I won't talk. I can be helping you in that analysis. I can be helping you doing better, but I won't comment. But certainly, there's I think a long road ahead. Which can bring a lot of glory to most of the faculty, the students who pass out from there individually, and then to all of us as Indians, to all of us actually. My best wishes as an individual, as a person, and a well-wisher of the institution. I will be privileged to know, and I think I will continue to know as long as I live. Best wishes to you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Before starting the oration, I request our dignitaries in the dais to kindly take their seats in the front row.
Dr. Selvamurthy is a former distinguished scientist and Chief Controller, Research and Development, Life Sciences and International Cooperation at Defence Research and Development Organization, Ministry of Defence, Government of India. Now I invite Dr. Selvamurthy to deliver his very prestigious 15th Oration Award, and he will be talking on respiratory challenges at high altitude. Professor Selvamurthy.
Good afternoon, friends. Respected Professor V.M. Katoch, the Director General, Indian Council of Medical Research and the Secretary, Department of Health Research. Respected Professor P.N. Tandon, the icon in the field of neurosciences in the country as well as at the international level, and also the chairman of the governing body for this institute, very prestigious institute, Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, a very eminent pulmonologist who is now at the helm of affairs here as the director. Professor D.K. Gupta, the Vice Chancellor of a very prestigious university from which has sprouted many eminent doctors and also medical professionals, not only who is eminent in the country but at the international level. And Professor Rajkumar, very distinguished faculties of the Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, the invited guests, dignitaries, students, research scholars and friends. It gives me immense pleasure to be here in an institution where I have spent a very close association. I have spent long time in my association with VPCI. Professor Viswanathan, I had only a brief encounter, but then with Professor Paintel, I had a very long association, and also he was my mentor. He helped me a lot in terms of neurophysiology, because I started my career as a neurophysiologist, and so I had a very close association with him. And also subsequently, Professor Randava, he held a lot of support to DIPAS when I was heading that institution for 11 years, just across. I was very proximal to the institution, and I had a number of colleagues who were associated, starting from Professor Jain, Professor Fahim, and a number of other people like Ashina Anand, and also we had Ravi, K. Ravi, so all these people with whom I have worked together. So I value a lot my association with this institution, which has helped in my growth. And when I was registered for PhD, and in fact Professor Painter was in the doctoral committee, and we used to have Professor Long, S.K. Long, he was the chairman of the doctoral committee. And then when Professor Painter took over as the director of the medical faculty of medical sciences, then he was finally, when I was submitting the thesis and evaluation, he was there. So I had a very long association. So my compliments to all of you at this 64th anniversary, the foundation day of this great institution, the Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute. And this institution is not only known at the national level, but it has made strides at the international level in respiratory physiology, respiratory medicine, and also in clinical aspects of pulmonology. This institution has made a wonderful mark at the global level, and I wish this institution to grow, as was mentioned, from strength to strength, and achieve a leadership role at the global level. Now we have done well to achieve a very important place in the international or the global community, but it's time for us, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and also with Professor Tendon being at the helm of affairs as the chairman of the governing body, certainly this institution will reach and assume the leadership role in the years to come. That's my wish and prayers for all of you, that on the 64th anniversary, that we take a resolution, maybe in a decade, this VPCI should assume the leadership role at the global level in the respiratory medicine. Now the topic which I have chosen is also close to this, the respiratory challenges at high altitude, which many of the people from this institution have been associated earlier. So this is also will be a topic which will be liked by all of you as a very challenging area, because high altitude research is very important for our country, for the simple reason we are constrained to deploy a large volume of troops both in the eastern side and western side of the Himalayas, guarding our borders. So it's very important that we need to see how we keep our soldiers fighting fit in those conditions.